good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe, floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is the 7th of May, 2025. It's a Wednesday, hump day. And as always, I'm calling out the legacy mainstream media. You guys screwed up real bad. You've lost their trust, and you guess what? You won't be trusted anymore. Yes, and as usual, we are broadcasting from the most confused, dumbed down, manipulated, and brainwashed nation on the face of the planet with news and information and receipts they hope and pray you never hear. I'm Dave vonKleist. These are the WTF reports. And I'm here, like I said, with the receipts, with the facts. WTF. You can think of it the other way if you want. Where's your mind anyway? Anyway, welcome aboard, campers. And I do want to say that this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. If you haven't checked it out, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice. Have you ever heard of a Rife machine? Yeah, Royal Raymond Rife was a researcher and a scientist, and he basically rediscovered what Nikola Tesla was saying. Frequency is everything. And the Wave Watch has tons and tons of frequencies, over 1,000 frequencies packed into this little wristwatch that you wear. And these frequencies, and I'm here to basically to tell you this is for your informational and educational purposes only, these frequencies can benefit lots of cells. Cells resonate. Yeah, all different cells resonate at different frequencies. And this little Wave Watch can help you. Maybe, maybe not. I can't say. FDA won't have that. He won't be too pleased about that. But you would do well to do some research into the Wave Watch, and once you understand what it is, hey, go to our website, the WTF Reports, visit our sponsors page, and you might want to get one because it's good stuff. Anyway, that said, I'm going to wax a little philosophical today. I'm going to ask you, what kind of car do you drive? What kind of car? Is it a sedan, or is it a sports car? Is it a van, or an SUV, or a pickup truck? All different kinds of body styles that you could have. And then you have to ask, what color is it? Is it red or blue or green, or is it black or whatever? Okay? So let me ask you, now when you get in that car, when you take that key and you open the door, okay, and you get in and you sit down, are you the car? Does that car define who you are? No. I mean, you're just in the car, right? And that car is being used as a vehicle to get around, okay? But that doesn't define who you are, okay? Well, and like I said, there's all different kind of body styles. So let me ask you this. Now, if you're driving a car and that car doesn't represent who you are, but people see the car, that presents a particular image, right? Okay, well, let's apply that when you look at yourself in the mirror and look behind the eyes. Look behind what kind of body style and color that you've got. All right? I mean, you could have a tall body or short body. You can be thin or stocky. You can have blue eyes or brown eyes. You could have brown skin. You could have red skin, yellow skin, white skin. This is your body, okay? But does that define who you are? Who's behind that? Who's driving that car? You know, this is something that you might want to consider, because your body doesn't define who you are. Your soul does. You know? I mean, and you can have a really crappy driver who smashes into things, okay? And this lousy driver smacks up that body, okay? Well, you can do the same thing with your body. Okay, and I'm just trying to put out the idea that your body does not define who you are. Your values, your morals, what you do defines who you are. Just like you could be a good driver or a bad driver. You can be a good person or a bad person. And that doesn't, in the type of body that you happen to be using as a vehicle, whether it be a tall one, a short one, a fat one, a skinny one, a brown one, a white one, whatever, that doesn't define who you are. You just happen to be occupying that particular body. And then you stop and think, wait a second, I have to really think deeply about this. Who am I? What am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my goal? What do I want in life? And when you think about it, how you live your life, is going to determine, what kind of a driver that you are. And, and when you stop and think about it, in 100 years, nobody's going to remember who you are unless you do something truly historic and then you make it into the history books, So, personally, I don't worry about my legacy. In 100 years, nobody's going to know who Dave vonKleist was. I've got photo albums down, in a chest of family members, pictures that go back 100 years. My grandmother and her sister. I don't remember her sister. I don't remember a whole bunch about. Oh, there's my great grandmother. I don't remember them. I didn't ever have any interaction, any adult conversations with them. They're just pictures, and that doesn't make any difference. Who they were. And the same thing is going to be true for most of you listeners out there. Like I said, unless you do something truly historic, and unless that's your goal, you want to create a legacy, you want to be remembered, well, that's nice. But like I said, personally, me, I don't care. Like I said, 100 years, nobody's going to know who I was or what I did or anything like that. So what really matters is what you do today, what you do with your life today, how you interact with people. What your impact is on those who are around you. Are you doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing? Are you selfish? Are you giving? What kind of driver are you? I just wanted to plant that seed out there because, it helps to put things into perspective. And these are things that really matter, As that song says, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm with my own personal life experience, I want to interact with people and leave them with a positive impression. And if I live my life and live it with love, hey, you get what you give. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know how that affects you, but anyway. All right, that said, let me see. Where do I start today? Oh, I got so many clips to get to. Well, let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the warpath again, and she's going after Ilan Omar, and a lot of other people are too. They're examining, the fact that she married her brother so she could get citizenship and stuff like that. But anyway, Ilan Omar was talking about censuring, and actually she wants to have Ilan Omar deported. So I'm going to play a couple of clips here. And we're going to put the puzzle pieces together. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here she is.
Censuring Representative Ilan Omar of Minnesota. Whereas elected members of Congress take an oath to bear true faith and allegiance to the United States without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Whereas Representative Ilan Omar took an oath of allegiance to the United States upon becoming a citizen, declaring, I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. Whereas on January 27, 2024, Representative Omar gave remarks at an event in Minneapolis in which she made treasonous statements. Whereas Representative Omar said she has spoken to many Somalians who asked her to intercede for the Somali government by pressuring the United States government into certain actions. Whereas Representative Omar assured the Somalians she spoke to, the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, and that is how we will safeguard the interest of Somalia. Whereas Representative Omar continued, for as long as I am in U.S. Congress, Somalia will never be in danger. Its waters will not be stolen by Ethiopia or others. Sleep in comfort knowing I am here to protect the interest of Somalia from inside the U.S. system. Whereas George Washington warned in his farewell address of 1796 to guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism, and further declared citizens by birth or choice of a common country, that country has a right to concentrate your affections. The name of American, which belongs to you in your national capacity, must always exalt the just pride of patriotism more than any appellation derived from local discriminations. Whereas these statements by Representative Omar clearly violate the oath she took as an elected member of Congress to defend and protect the United States Constitution. Whereas Representative Omar has exhibited the treasonous tendencies George Washington warned about, and her actions must be condemned by all members of Congress who adhere to the oath they took upon assuming office. And whereas by openly admitting her efforts to advance Somalia's interest using her position as a United States representative, Representative Omar has revealed herself to be a foreign agent acting on behalf of a foreign government. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Ilan Omar of Minnesota be censured. Representative Ilan Omar forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Ilan Omar be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and Representative Ilan Omar be and is hereby removed from the Committee of the Budget and the Committee on Education and the Workforce.
Okay, that was about a month ago. Like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been upping the ante, going after Ilan Omar. Here's another clip that she did.
Against Ilan Omar. And the reason why I did that, and I'll just say this, censure is not going far enough. If it were up to me, we would expel Ilan Omar and deport her out of the United States. Her comments are outrageous. She's acting as a foreign agent within our very government. She said the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, and that is how we will safeguard the interest of Somalia. She also said, for as long as I am in Congress, Somalia will never be in danger.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there. It's pretty much the same thing that you just heard. Okay, so she's upset with Ilan Omar because Omar has voiced her dedication and her allegiance to Somalia. Okay, now I understand that, and I agree with, if you're a member of Congress, you're supposed to represent the United States and the United States interests. So I get it. I'm totally on board with this. Okay, however, there are two sides to this coin. Now, why is it okay? And I'm gonna get some people pissed off. I know I will. But why is it okay for us to say Israel is first? Now, we have to ask our members of Congress, who are you serving? Okay? I mean, obviously MTG is upset because Ilan Omar voiced her allegiance to Somalia. But we've got Chuck Schumer out there that said forever it'll be Israel first, and we've got Nancy Pelosi said the Capitol can burn to the ground, but Israel will always be I forget exactly how she put it, but Israel will always be in our hearts. So the thing is why is it bad for Ilan Omar to say that she is pledging her allegiance to Somalia, but it's okay for our members of Congress to say, hey, Israel for now and forever? I mean, isn't there something called hypocrisy going on here? Now, don't get me wrong. I am not an anti-Semite, and we could get into the definition of anti-Semite. I don't hate Jews. I've got friends who are Jewish, okay? And many of them are absolutely livid, and they're disgusted with what's going on in Israel. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of protesters of Israelis in the streets that are disgusted with what Bibi Netanyahu has been doing with his efforts in Gaza. Yes, it is genocide. It's absolute annihilation. It's extermination of an entire people. And regardless of what those people's particular beliefs are or religious, that's got nothing to do with it. You just can't go in there and annihilate. I mean, they're blowing up hospitals, and they're killing aid, people that come in bringing aid, and they're killing journalists, and they're killing everybody. And the Israelis, a lot of the Israelis are disgusted with this. And well, they should be. And a lot of Jewish folks here in this country are disgusted with it because, hey, you know, it's generating a lot of hatred towards Jews. And there's so much confusion between Zionism and Judaism. Okay, two different things. And there's, I think it's 37 states now have made it illegal for you to boycott Israel. Now, wait a second. How is this a good thing? You know, I mean, I understand, you know, I see what's happening. I think that there's a holy war being brewed here. And you've got three major religions in this world. You've got, of course, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Okay? Well, right now, the way things are going in this country and in Europe, it looks like the Muslims are being pitted against the Christians. And, you know, that third party is out there sort of sitting on the sidelines waiting for something to happen. And by the way, I want to remind you that back in 1952, there was the McCarren Warner Act of 1952 was forbidding Muslims from holding office. Did you know that? Yeah, back in 1952, the McCarren Warner Act. Look it up. Do some research. Well, unfortunately, what happened on November 18th of 1990, the 101st Congress quietly repealed the McCarren Warner Act of 1952. And the members of that Congress were, get this, Dick Cheney, John McCain, Joe Biden, Al Gore, John Kerry, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. Okay, now why do you suppose they would have done that? Why do you suppose that they were banning Muslims from serving in Congress back in 1952? What was the point of that? Well, because there's something called Sharia Law, which the Muslims believe in. Now, they can believe whatever they want, but the point is that in this country, our laws come from the Constitution. And when you come to this country, you're supposed to abide by the laws of the Constitution. And the problem is that Sharia law is repugnant to the Constitution. As a matter of fact, there's an FBI agent by the name of John Guandolo, and he was explaining why these two things are repugnant. This is FBI agent John Guandolo. Here he is.
The entire purpose of Islam, according to all Islamic doctrine, is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate, and under that, Sharia or Islamic law is the law of the land. That's it. Islam is no more complicated than that. Islam breaks the entire world into two parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war, where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam. And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims. So let's just put that on the line. And so we're here talking national security issues. We have people here that are running for the office of President of the United States, and we have to begin there. And what I would put forth is that since, and actually prior to, but since 9/11, our entire national security apparatus has been unprofessional in its approach to this war, from the 4-star generals to the office of the president to the national security staff to the leaders of DHS when it was created, the FBI, the CIA, and other agencies. Because we have said this has nothing to do with Islam, despite the fact that our warfighting doctrine says when you analyze an enemy, you start with who he says he is and why he's fighting. And 100% of this enemy that we're facing, from the jihadi in Chattanooga to the 9/11 hijackers and everybody before and in between, have all said we're Muslims waging jihad in the cause of Allah in order to impose Islamic law and establish caliphate, period. So that's what it is. And if we look in Islamic law, authoritative Islamic law, the kind you get at mosque bookstores, not at Barnes & Noble, you will see that 100% of them say that jihad is warfare against non-Muslims. And it's total warfare. It's not just guns and bombs. It's psychological warfare. It is political warfare. It's subversion. It is the whole 9 yards. It's total warfare, something that our DOD has not been practicing. I would say you'd have to go back towards Reagan administration and maybe even beyond that. Complete and total war.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit of an explanation there. Now, do you understand why Islam or jihad, is repugnant to the Constitution? Okay, you can't have two different beliefs in law in this country. If you're coming to this country, you assimilate. You have to go by our laws. Now, down in Texas, I believe it's just north of Dallas, they are building Epic City. Epic City is exclusively for Muslims, and they are going to institute Sharia law there. Now, this is happening all over the country, and I can't help but think that those that I was just mentioning for the McCarren Warner Act, they knew what they were doing back in 1952. But those who came and who repealed it, again, Dick Cheney, John McCain, Joe Biden, Al Gore, John Kerry, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they were all involved in that 101st Congress who basically repealed the McCarren Warner Act. And now we can see some of the ramifications here. We're talking like, almost 75 years ago. So anyway, I wanted to point that out because we are looking, look at what's going on in Europe right now. What's going on in England? And in France. The Muslims have moved in and they have basically, taken over. They're in the streets blocking traffic 5 times a day for prayer. Now, the thing is, you can say, oh, you're a bigot or you're a racist or something like that because you don't want them doing that. No. When they when they left their home countries and went to whatever European country they went to, you're supposed to assimilate to that country, not take it over. And then you have to ask the question, why did they leave their country in the first place? What was wrong with their country? If everything is so wonderful and happy and hucky-dory, spiffy, boffo keen, not too bad, if everything is just fine in their country, why are they leaving their country and coming into European countries and now into the United States? And again, I'm not saying this because I'm a racist. I'm saying this because culture matters. Okay? Everybody's, the left screaming about diversity. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Here in this country, we celebrate, we have Oktoberfest. And of course, that's celebrating German beer. And we've got, St. Patrick's Day. We celebrate the Irish. We've got all these different holidays that celebrate the diversity in our culture. In this country, we've got people from all over the world. We have Chinese, we have Germans, we have French, we have, Spaniards. We have people from all over the country. And for the most part, we've all got along just fine. This is the melting pot. And that's because all these people from all these different cultures came here and they assimilated. They came here for a better life, and golly gosh, we've been having a pretty good time here in the United States. But man, in the past couple of decades, things have gone, whack-a-doodle, bat crap crazy. And maybe that's because, there are several different contributing factors to that. Of course, I point directly at the Department of Education, or Department of Indoctrination, I should call it. And I pointed that out numerous times ever since the Department of Education came into being in 1980, or what was it, 79, 80? The quality of education has continually spiraled downward, and now we're almost at the bottom of the list. I think in a field of 40, I think we're like 38th as far as quality of education. And then we have to ask our question, why are things so screwed up in this country? We're graduating people out of college and they don't have, an 8th grade reading ability. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration. Yeah, okay, I take that back. But I know that they're passing kids out of high school with honors that are functionally illiterate. We carried that story a week or two ago. In the state of Connecticut, at the Hartford high school system, there was a girl who got graduated with honors, and she can't read. She can't write. She's totally illiterate. She uses an app on her phone, scans a page so it'll read it to her. Now, is this a quality of education that we're putting out? And if that's the case, these people are going to grow up, and then they're going to be, running businesses, and if they can get a job, and maybe even being elected into office. This is terrifying. This is not good. But anyway, I just want to plant these seeds of thought in your mind because, like I said, it looks to me like they're generating a holy war between Muslims and Christians right now. And getting back to Marjorie Taylor Greene and how she's railing against Ilan Omar for voicing her dedication to Somalia, hey, there's two sides to that coin. Now, and again, I point at Israel and the AIPAC. How many hundreds of millions of dollars have gone from AIPAC into the pockets of your elected officials so that they will, do what AIPAC wants? What's running this country anyway?
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. And now, oh my goodness, yeah, it was a big thing in the news that the P. Diddy list has partially been released. And here we are, how many months after the fact? We're still waiting for the Epstein list to get released. But I got to be honest with you, folks. I mean, I think anybody that's got some functioning gray matter strategically placed between their ears can figure out that the release of these lists and exposing all of the, shall we say, consumers of sex trafficking. I mean, these people are at the very top and highest echelon in government, in business, in Hollywood, in television, communication, news networks. The biggest names are probably on that list. And I think that the release of that could very well be seen as a threat to national security. Maybe that's why we're not seeing these lists released. And again, that leads us into the whole subject of sex trafficking, which I was covering earlier this week on Monday. If you missed Monday's show, you might want to go back into the archives. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and check out the archives. Because I've been banging this drum long and loud for many years. Matter of fact, when I found out how bad the situation was with sex trafficking, and yes, satanic cults, yeah, this goes back years and years and years. But yeah, for a lot of people, they just don't want to admit it. They just can't. I mean, the truth is so ugly. It's so bad that most people, yeah, they stick their heads in the sand. And frankly, I can't blame them. Ignorance truly is bliss. And once you find out what the truth is, yeah, your bliss is gone. But again, I go by the motto, if you become aware of a lie and you do nothing to expose the lie, you become part of the lie. And like I was saying on the show yesterday, you've got to stare the monster right in the eyes if you want to defeat it. You can't look away. Anyway, that said, well, boy, this time is going by so quickly. The WTF reports are brought to you in part by...
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranty, guarantees. Results vary.
And you can get more tank by going to our website, TheWTFReports.com. If you haven't tried it, you really should. Hey, give it a shot. It's only $20 with the discount. And after you've tried Get More Tank, I think that you'll become a repeat customer. You'll notice that you've got an increased performance out of your engine. When you hit the gas, your car goes. And you're also going to have between 15 and 20% increase in your mileage. So that means with one purchase of Get More Tank, it already pays for itself. And once you keep on using it, you're going to save, you get 5 tablets per package. And if you're getting 20% better mileage, that means every 5th tank is going to be free. Do the math. You spend $20 and you save a tank of gas. So, yeah, go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and get more tank. And while you're there, hey, you might want to pick up a T-shirt or a baseball cap or a coffee mug. Yeah, we got some merch available here. Yeah, help us out, folks. If you're enjoying this broadcast, spread the word. If you're listening on Rumble or BitChute or YouTube, click like and share and subscribe. It helps us out a whole lot. All right, that said, I was shocked last night when I was going through the different news networks, and I do take a look at CBS and NBC, but I also bounce around at some of the new networks that have popped up, and I don't put all my eggs in any one of their baskets. I don't trust anybody these days. But I noticed that they're actually starting to talk about the deep underground military bases, the DUMBs. Now, a lot of people have denied, that's just conspiracy theory. Oh, no. Hey, listen, folks, those underground cities have been there for decades. It's been going on for a long time. I remember back in the 90s when Joyce and I were traveling all over the country trying to help veterans. I remember that there was one guy that gave us a map of all of the underground rail systems that link, from New York to Los Angeles and everywhere in between. And it also had the hubs where all these underground rail systems, high-speed rail, all conglomerate. And there's major cities that have major cities underneath the major cities, okay? And it was on the news last night. I was watching OAN's Dan Ball, and he was going on about it. And as a matter of fact, even Tucker Carlson was talking about it. And the thing is that there are $21 trillion missing in the budget, and that's where a lot of this money has gone. A former Bush administration aide has come forward with jaw-dropping claims. He's saying $21 trillion has quietly vanished, funneled into underground infrastructure projects across the United States. Over 170 massive subterranean facilities or cities, some of them sizes of small cities, are said to exist right beneath our feet and even under the ocean. There are secret tunnels, and they're built with black budgets, and there's deep state real estate underneath, And what this means is that trillions of dollars have been funneled into these projects, and not a single mainstream audit can explain them. These facilities are not bunkers. They're fully operational underground complexes. And there was a video of a trucker. As a matter of fact, when I lived in Missouri, I forget which, what highway was it? It went right by the entrance to one of these underground massive complexes. Truckers and whistleblowers are now filming their entry into places like Missouri's vast underground network, and the footage is undeniable. And if this is true, and we know it is now, the American people have been locked out of their own resources while the elites dig deeper, literally. So the question is, and again, Dan Ball brought this up on OAN, he says, what are they preparing for? A war? A financial collapse? When there's a secrecy on this scale, it's never innocent. Maybe they have some nefarious plans for the world, and again, I can't help but say, well, gosh, this goes right back to those Georgia Guidestones and the globalist plan of reducing the population drastically. We all know about the seed vault up there in Iceland. They've saved all of the organic seeds there, and because everything that's being grown these days is polluted. As a matter of fact, let me see. I've got a clip here. Tom Massey, here he is. He was talking about the mRNA technology that's being put into our food. And they're shooting up the livestock, the cattle, the pigs, the chickens. If you eat meat, chances are they've all been injected with mRNA technology. And so, okay, well, I'm not going to eat meat. I'm going to eat veggies. Okay. Hey, Thomas Massey, tell us about the veggies. Oh, dear.
In the Ag Approach bill, I tried to defund research for transgenic edible plant vaccines. And it sounds kind of scary, but it is scary. We are actually funding with taxpayer dollars research on vaccines to be grown in lettuce and spinach, so that when people eat their lettuce and spinach, they will get vaccinated with whatever vaccine that plant is producing. I don't think we need to be playing God with our spinach. And if somebody wants to do that, there probably needs to be tighter rules on it, because pollen can escape and pollute plants in neighboring farms who never intended to be growing vaccines in their food. So I tried to put some rules on that in the Ag Approach bill, and I was able to stop taxpayer dollar spending in that Ag Approach bill. But they threw that bill in the trash and did an omnibus instead. So guess what? Now you got another year of transgenic edible plant vaccine research.
Isn't that marvelous? Isn't that wonderful? I tell you, these mad scientists, they're hell-bent on leather of getting rid of the human population. Now, why is this mRNA technology so important to them? Now, a lot of folks are saying, well, you know, these lipid particles and the graphene oxide and the nanotechnology, it's all in these vaccines. Now, that could be conspiracy theory. I shouldn't say that they're in all the vaccines, but we know it's in a lot of the vaccines, and they're being pretty open about it. So what is it about this mRNA technology that's so important to them? Why is it that they want to inject and introduce this technology into every single person? I can't imagine that it's for our health. We already know what their goals are. They've been open about it. We already know that they want to reduce the population, but they got to do it in such a way that nobody can point a finger of blame. So what's that got to do with this mRNA technology, lipid particles, graphene oxide, nanotechnology, What's it got to do with it? Well, a lot of folks are saying, hey, it's designed to basically react to the 5G frequency, the 5G technology that's, these towers that are going up all over the country, all over the cities. Now, I can't say with certainty that this is exactly what's happening, but I can't help but think about it. I can't help but think that maybe some of these people are not so wackadoodle conspiracy theorists. Keep in mind that we conspiracy theorists are like 100 to 1. I mean, we've been correct over and over and over and over and over again. So I can't help but think outside of the cage and say maybe this 5G technology and these frequencies, these microwaves, are going to have something to do. Maybe they're going to interact with the graphene that's in the bloodstream of many people now who have been infected with the mRNA technology. Whether you took the hokey pokey thingy dingy or not, they want that in your body. And they're putting it, like you just heard from Tom Massey, they're putting it in the veggies and your lettuce and in your spinach. And they're shooting up all the livestock with this. Why do they want everybody to have this mRNA technology in their bodies? Well, I can't help but think that maybe we ought to think about the connection, the possible connection between that and the 5G towers. I mean, is there something else going on? I don't know. As a matter of fact, let me hear from you. Is there anybody out there that has a real good idea about what's going on with the mRNA technology and how it could possibly interact with the 5G? Give me a call. I want to hear from you right now. Do it. 215-867-8255. That's 215-867-8255. 215 Talk. So if you call now, I'll put you right on the air. Ain't no waiting, no standing in line, none of that. So anyway, Yeah, I realize I'm hitting a bunch of different topics, and I'm throwing a bunch of stuff on the table, and to get y'all to start thinking again, get y'all to start, putting puzzle pieces together. And I know it's not fun. I know, because once you see, how bad things could possibly be. I mean, we can't fix a problem unless we're willing to recognize it, examine it, figure it out. So for those of you who prefer to stick your head in the ground, well, that's okay for you, but things ain't going to get any better if you do that. It ain't going to happen. And I know that some of these topics are uncomfortable, and yes, you might lose sleep on them, but that's a process. I remember when I first started really putting the puzzle pieces together, I mean, I was shocked. I was depressed. I was like, oh my God, am I losing my mind? When you find out things, basic things like 30 years ago, if you said that the Federal Reserve was not a part of the federal government, most people looked at you like you had two heads. You're crazy. What do you mean? Hey, Dave, it's the Federal Reserve. Don't you understand what the word federal is? Yeah, and I understand what the Federal Express is. And I also understand what Federal Coffee brand is. Just because you put a name Federal in front of it doesn't make it part of the government. Dave, you're crazy. Dave, you're nuts. And when you get that from all the other people around you, you start thinking, well, gosh, maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am nuts. And you start to doubt yourself. But if you've got functional gray matter and the voice in the back of your head saying, no, you're right. You're right. Stand your ground. And that's basically, you got to have some guts and some chutzpah to stand your ground when you're up against that type of opposition, especially when it was 30 years ago. But I think there's the German philosopher, what was his name? Goethe? Goethe or something like that. I can't remember how you pronounce it. But he said, all truth passes through three phases. First is denial. Second is violent opposition. And third is widespread acceptance as common knowledge. We all knew that. That's what you get now when you start talking about the Federal Reserve. Oh, yeah, I knew that. But, and then what was it? I think it was Mark Twain who said, in the beginning of a cause, a patriot is hated and scorned. But as his cause succeeds, the timid will join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. And those words are true. Anyway, again, I'm putting the call out there. Anybody has any idea about the link between the mRNA technology and the 5G? I'd like to hear from you. Come on, give it up. I'm looking for some feedback on that. Okay, here's Carolyn. Okay, hey girl, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing. Thank you. I missed a lot of your show, so I can't bounce back on too much, except for I've got a thought about the 5G connection. I'm not very scientific. Mm-hmm. However, I've heard that the connection basically is that there's something in the technology, like a chip, like nanotechnology, mm-hmm. Perhaps that's in there that could be basically activated, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Like you kind of like you ramp up the frequency. We talk about frequency, right? You ramp up the frequency, and you start going, oh, and only God knows what it's doing to the brain or how it's hooked up. And we don't have the chips in there quite yet, but there's probably a chip floating around in there somewhere.
Well, there's also the chemtrails. All the aluminum and the barium, all that stuff. That's something else that we need to factor in.
Oh, yeah, the metals.
Yeah, the heavy metals. And what's going on with all of the aluminum that's being dumped across the farmland, and it's affecting, the crops and the fertility of the soil. And we know that that aluminum has a direct effect on the brain. An increase in dementia and Alzheimer's disease.
Oh yeah, like instant brain dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like they amp it up. I mean, they did something I think on with the DEW. Didn't they lay something down with the DEW weapons also? The DEW, the energy weapons.
The direct energy weapons.
Yeah, I think they laid something down too before they lasered it, so to speak. Layman's term.
Possibly.
On the note of other than what you just said on the denial, violent opposition,
mm-hmm.
well, I got something about that. That for one, I believe it's taken me courage to look at the truth. I delve in. Sometimes I go, oh shit, I gotta excuse my friend. Sorry, I'm swearing on your show. I take it back. So cancel is that it takes courage, and so sometimes I'll take a break and look at something nutrition just to give my brain a break or have something encouraging. But I delve back in to go, come on, you can do this, and because I like to know my enemy, I like to know my surroundings, and so. What's happening? It's infuriating. It's terrifying. All of those things above, but I'd rather know. Okay, so there's that. But what comes to mind is I feel that I think of the lion and the scarecrow and the Tin Man. Tin Man wants to. They gotta use their brain. Okay, for one, you gotta use your brain. Come on, kick in, and then but courage. Well, God has some courage. I need some courage. I need courage. Then and I'm like the scarecrow, man. I'm the scarecrow. I'm shaking in my boots. I'm so scared. Are you kidding me? But it just activates me. I mean, I kind of recoil sometimes, and I feel like a victim, and then I raise back up and go, wait a second. I need to start getting those flyers out, get a list of the radio shows. Start talking to people about this. But I'll tell you where we get stuck, and this is what I think is that in those phases of denial. I think let's say we could guess a percentage of the denial, people in denial, but I feel like they're stuck. The lefties, the extremists, whatever you want to call them, is they're stuck, idle in violent opposition. I mean, these people are crazy violent. They're very aggressive in their position. Like I just, it's like, they treat you like you just ran over their dog.
Well, that's because you're upsetting their joy. You're pulling their head out of the sand, and and they don't like that. They enjoy their slumber. So I understand why you have violent opposition because, you're upsetting these people. And I want to point out that you should never fear. The Bible says it 365 times in the Bible. That's once for every day in the year. Do not fear, because fear is the opposite of love. People think the opposite of love is hate. No. The opposite of love is fear, because fear begets hate. Okay? And that's really important. It's really, and it's a challenge. We all have to face our fears. But once you face those, they say that humanity has always had a fear of the unknown. Well, common sense will tell you that if you make the unknown known, the fear will dissipate. And that's why all those years ago, when I was with Joyce and we had the show, it was called the Power Hour. And because we wanted to empower the people, once you have the knowledge is power. And you can overcome the fear with knowledge. Now, yes, it's a process. Because as you gather that knowledge, you go, oh, my God, this is horrible. Oh, my God, I didn't believe that. Oh, my God, we're being screwed. Oh, my God, WTF,
Yeah.
But eventually you get to a point where you can see. You see all these puzzle pieces. You get to look into the face of the beast, and you say, okay, you SOB, I'm after you now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, or you know how to defend yourself better, too. Like, okay, what is my enemies, what are they going to do to us? What are they doing to us, and how do I defend myself? How do I protect myself?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Wrap yourself in the armor. Wrap yourself in the armor of God.
Yeah, I got to get in that. I got to get in that scripture. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what is that? Mel Gibson in the movie Braveheart. They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Freedom.
That's right. You can take my life, but that's okay. I've got a clean slate. I have a clear conscience. I've done my best.
I really kind of avoid them taking my life part, though. And there's the part in between. I don't want to end up in some dungeon, getting tortured either. I'm just saying that part I'd like to avoid. Well, I'd rather have it be on God's. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I'd rather just avoid a lot of this violence going on around here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not, especially as a woman. I'm just saying, there's a lot I'd like to avoid. So I don't want to leave on that bad note, but
no, I get it.
Your show.
I get it. No, that's not a problem. Okay.
No, but we do need the Bible. That's for sure. Thank you for your input. Hey, how can I get a replay of your show?
Go to the WTFReports.com. All of the archives are there. You can scroll back and you can listen to yesterday's show, the day before. And then they're all categorized. If you want to go back a couple of months, you can go back to April or February or March or whatever. And all the shows are there.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Well, thank you so much for being an active participant in the program.
You're welcome.
All right. God bless. You take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
All right. All right. We got, let me see, I got about 5 minutes left. If there's anybody else who wants to join the conversation, we've only got a couple minutes. 215-867-8255. And, I had all these audio clips ready for today's show, and I just, we just haven't gotten to them all. But, again, going back to this issue about Ilan Omar and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I can't emphasize this enough, folks. I would challenge you all to contact your member of Congress and ask them a simple question. Is it America first or Israel first? Now, again, I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't hate Jews. It's got nothing to do whatsoever with that. But if Marjorie Taylor Greene can go after Ilan Omar for voicing her allegiance to Somalia, why is it okay for all of our other members of Congress to voice their allegiance to Israel? It's supposed to be USA. It's supposed to be America first, not another country, especially when that other country is being run by absolute megalomaniac, genocidal madmen. I'm sorry, I don't hate Jews, but I got a real problem with Bibi Netanyahu and his methodology on going after the Gaza Strip. Now, why is he foaming at the mouth at getting in there? Well, maybe it has to do with the geological studies that they found there's $500 billion worth of oil and natural gas under the Gaza Strip. You think that might be a motivating factor? No, they'd never do that, would they? And then there's also the plans that were drawn up in the year 2000, 25 years ago, for a canal. A Ben Gurion canal would go right through the Gaza Strip, and they want to build that canal, and they want to compete with the Suez Canal. And they want to be in complete control of that canal. That might have something to do with it. No, Dave, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, they would never do that. Oh, really? And we look at what happened in western North Carolina when Hurricane Helene went through there. And there's still a lot of questions about why FEMA was holding back the aid and why FEMA, was doing everything that they can to prevent the locals from rebuilding. Why do you suppose that is? Could it have anything to do with the rare earth minerals that they found underneath that general vicinity? Could it have something to do with the quartz that they found in the vicinity? No, they would never remove the local people so that they could strip mine the area. No, they would never do that. Yeah, right. Like I said, folks, many years ago, I saw that bumper sticker. It had a cross, a Star of David. It had a crescent moon and a star. It had a Buddha. It had an Egyptian Ankh. And it had a $sign. And then underneath it asked the question, which one do you worship? And if it's deeds, not words, if I shall know ye by your fruits, I think we all can say it's safe to assume that overwhelmingly people are worshiping the almighty dollar. Well, guess what? You cannot serve two masters, as it says. It's one or the other. And if you're going to serve materialism and mammon, well, I think you know where that's going to lead. But the bottom line here, folks, is, again, I go back to how I started the program. What kind of car are you driving? What body style is it? What color is it? Does that really matter? I don't think so. What matters is who's driving. You can have the best car in the world. You can have the most beautiful car in the world. But if the driver is a crappy driver, it doesn't make any difference. All right, that's a little bit of waxing philosophical there. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying the program. I hope you're enjoying the show, the WTF Reports. If so, go to TheWTFReports.com and do some business. Get some merch. Do business with our advertisers. Helps us to keep the lights on. All right, that's going to do it for this Wednesday hump day version of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist. I thank you all for your listenership. And as always, I wish you well. God bless you all. Stay safe. And above all, stay free. God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow.
You turn on the light, you won't be trusted anymore.